I inadvertently became bound to the Iron Straightman System, becoming its first female host. The system bestowed upon me an indomitable and robust physique. Consequently, under the cover of night, I donned a crimson garment and ascended to the residence of my tormentor, extending an invitation for them to leap from the rooftop. Alongside me, when my teacher intentionally created obstacles, I flung open the window and, without a moment's hesitation, leapt from the fourth-floor office. "I shall use death to prove everything," I proclaimed. My teacher, instantly rendered fearful and disoriented, repeatedly offered apologies. I wept. I fainted. I could never truly perish from such a fall. Point 1.
Ding.
Detecting host Lu Zhao, male, 16 years old, initiating system binding. Warning. An unexpected situation has arisen. Host binding failed. Target has been altered. Binding successful. Host Suyu, female, 17 years old, successfully bound to the Iron Straightman System. 2. I was roused from slumber by a sharp, piercing shout echoing in my mind. Upon opening my eyes, I was greeted by an expanse of white. I found myself reclined upon a narrow bed, and upon glancing to the side, I noticed a school nurse seated nearby. It dawned on me that I was in the infirmary, rather than a morgue. A strange electronic voice clamored within my foggy brain, incessantly asserting its presence. How could a straight man's system be bound to a girl? I am doomed. I am undoubtedly doomed. The electronic voice seemed to spiral into utter despair. What on earth is this? The clamor only intensified the throbbing in my head. Yesterday, I had been cornered by the class flower, Lu Ning, in the restroom, drenching myself in water. Dressed in soggy clothing, I languished in the classroom for an eternity. Since this morning, my body had begun to feel unwell. During gym class, Lu Ning's lackey deliberately tripped me, and in my fall, I collided with a boy. The bizarre voice in my mind seemed to have emerged shortly thereafter. The school nurse, hearing the commotion, turned to me. Has our little student awakened? You fainted from a fever on the way here, and the teacher brought you in. There are antipyretics on the bedside table. Take them and rest well. You may take the afternoon off to return home. I pressed my throbbing temples. Thank you, teacher. After taking the medication, I reclined back on the bed, questioning within my mind. What are you? 3. The voice that claims to be a system sounds pitiful. I was supposed to bind with Lu Zhao, but due to an unstable signal, it ended up being you.
Lu Zhao.
I recalled carefully. He was the person I had collided with just before I fainted. It was likely that very collision that caused the signal instability, leading the system to bind with me. So, what happens after the binding? Are you going to assign him some tasks like in the novels? I silently scoffed. Such plotlines have become cliché in short videos. The system nodded repeatedly. Indeed, my full name is the Iron Straightman System, and my goal is to assist timid boys in transforming into strong, masculine men. I will grant them robust physiques, resolute wills, and ensure they are no longer bullied. Strong and healthy? I nearly burst into laughter. You should consider yourself fortunate to have bound with me. The system appeared perplexed.
Why?
Don't you conduct background checks before binding with a host? I pulled out my phone, opened the campus forum, and unearthed a trending post. The title read, "Seeking a Muscular Sports Boyfriend." The poster was none other than Lu Zhao. He is a well-known big softy on campus. What? The system stuttered. Big softy? I nodded. Indeed. Moreover, Lu Zhao is dedicated to crafting himself into a delicate and weak character, needing to seek help from the sports class just to open a bottle of mineral water. If you aim to turn him into a muscle man, you might as well wish for his demise. I clicked into Lu Zhao's profile, which was filled with an array of high-quality selfies. Either close-up shots of his face or his waist, occasionally showcasing mirror selfies in white socks. His sexual orientation is more bent than a spring. Wake up. This guy only dreams of sleeping with an Iron Straight man. The system was struck with profound shock, but still attempted to resist. I can still protect him from being bullied. Truly, one must see the coffin to shed tears. I rolled my eyes and retrieved a photo of Lu Zhao flaunting his globe-trotting adventures. The backdrop featured a luxurious yacht on the sea, where he was toasting champagne with a group of affluent young men and women. The Lu family is wealthy and well-connected. Lu Zhao has been spoiled by his parents to the heavens. Does he really need your protection? 4. Hopes were repeatedly shattered. The system's voice was despondent. Then I am of no use to him. Perhaps I should terminate the binding and forfeit this task. Terminate the binding? That simply would not do. I quickly interjected. He may not need you, but I certainly do. I curled my lips into a smile and softened my tone, adopting a thoroughly vulnerable demeanor. I come from a humble background, my health is frail, and I have been bullied by my classmates. I fit your criteria perfectly. It must be destiny that you bind with me. But you are a girl. My previous hosts were all boys. So what? I countered. The Iron Straightman is merely a characteristic of human thought expression, not confined to males. Men are easy to imitate. Less understanding and empathy, more criticism and stubbornness. I sighed at the system. Your perspective is limited. Failure of the task would certainly not benefit you, right? Since you have bound with me, I will take responsibility and assist you to the end. I am doing this for your own good. The system was bewildered. Really? I nodded, of course. How easily deceived. I mused inwardly. Being a bit foolish is advantageous. A naive tool is far more convenient. With my deliberate guidance, the system gradually accepted me as its host. It was not a deity and could not provide me with substantial aid. However, it could bestow upon me an indestructible physique. To validate this, before departing, I intentionally ran to an empty stairwell and threw myself down the stairs. It didn't hurt, not in the slightest. I got up and inspected myself. Aside from a bit of dust, there were no other issues. The system remarked that indestructible was merely a name. I would still incur injuries from sharp weapons. But for all blunt force trauma or falls, I would be immune. Moreover, my physical strength would be significantly enhanced. Though this golden finger had its flaws, everything exceeded my usual materialistic understanding. Amidst my inner jubilation, I did not hesitate to shower it with compliments. System. You are truly remarkable. It fidgeted. Host, you are the first person to praise me. Oh. Have the previous hosts never complimented you? The system affirmed with a sound. No matter what I accomplished for them, they only regarded it as their own brilliance. Success or failure had little to do with me. Well, I thought. That was to be expected. A rebellious teenager, bestowed with a mysterious system, would inevitably overestimate their own importance. I dusted myself off, preparing to head home. Along the way, my mind was swirling with thoughts. I could hardly wait for my next confrontation with Lu Ning. 3. The school I attend, Yueyang No. 1 High School, boasts the finest faculty in the city. It is currently the second semester of my sophomore year. My experience of being bullied began as early as the first grade. Initially, I was targeted simply because the class monitor, Zhao Haoyu, had glanced at me during the opening ceremony. His childhood friend, Lu Ning, could not bear the thought of him looking at other girls. Yet, if she were to confront Zhao Haoyu, it would only result in him dismissing her as unreasonable. Thus, Lu Ning took her frustrations out on me. Despite my countless explanations that the incident was merely due to filling out a form for the teacher, it was futile. Lu Ning refused to listen, or rather, she deliberately chose not to. Zhao Haoyu was academically gifted and handsome, and as soon as school commenced, he became surrounded by admirers. Lu Ning couldn't he possibly warn each and every one of them. I was merely the nearest target for her ire. She instructed her followers to pin my shoulders down, forcing my head against the sink in the girls' restroom. The expression on her youthful, beautiful face was twisted, her long nails digging into my cheek. Stop making excuses, you vixen. I had no idea who she was glaring at through me, gritting her teeth as she spat. Stay away from Zhao Haoyu. Amidst the laughter of the girls, they pulled out markers and defiled my clothing with a plethora of vile and derogatory words. Slut, whore, and those were among the more conservative terms. I could not comprehend why such venomous language would emerge from the mouths of teenage girls. My skin, covered by fabric, bore countless scratches from their nails. At that moment, Zhao Haoyu passed by the restroom door, holding a book. I saw him then, and naively approached him for help, crying out for him to clarify that I was not involved with him. The boy merely cast a cold glance in my direction. He then turned to Lu Ning and said, "Once you're done playing, hurry home. Your parents are waiting for you for dinner." Lu Ning giggled as she linked her arm with his. Got it, studious one. Throughout it all, Zhao Haoyu never expressed a shred of remorse for the harm I had suffered because of him. In fact, as he departed, he even admonished me to keep my mouth shut. Zhao Ning is just joking with you. And your mother works hard selling things every day. You, as her daughter, should empathize with her. Don't make your mother worry. Head home early. The calm demeanor of the boy at that moment was more terrifying than a vengeful spirit. I sat despondently on the damp floor, acutely aware of a grim reality. He was using my mother as leverage against me, protecting his capricious childhood friend. For, that day, after school, I returned home along the dark alley. Fortunately, I did not encounter anyone on the way. My mother was at the night market setting up her stall and would be late returning, allowing me a moment to catch my breath and tidy up my disheveled self. Even amidst the hardships, I found solace in the thought that at least I was clad in old garments, which would not cause me grief if discarded. In truth, I did not require Zhao Haoyu's reminder. I would never divulge to my mother the events transpiring at school. It has been a decade since my father passed away, and my mother has toiled tirelessly to raise me on her own. She has had little formal education. During my primary school years, she worked in a restaurant where the owner exploited her for both front-of-house and kitchen duties. Yet, she never complained, cheerfully undertaking the most arduous tasks with grace. Eventually, she acquired some culinary skills and set up a small stall selling pancakes at the night market on her tricycle. My mother's cooking is unparalleled, and her pancakes are the best in town. Each day, she would make round, thin egg pancakes, all for just a few coins that allowed her to enroll me in the finest school in the city. My mother harbored hopes that I would study diligently and carve out a future vastly different from her own. I could not let her down. Thus, I discarded those filthy clothes to conceal the wounds upon my skin. The moment the door swung open, I greeted her with a bright smile. "Mom, you're back." But in the next instant, she cheerfully remarked, "Today, I ran into several of your classmates." A chill raced down my spine. The night market where my mother set up her stall was in a different direction from the school, and very few students from Yueying frequented that area. It was evident that this was yet another warning from Zhao Haoyu. If I were to report Lu Ning, what might they do to my mother's stall? The following day, I attended class as if nothing had happened, for they had grasped my vulnerability. From that moment on, Lu Ning began to use me as a target for her emotional outbursts. I meticulously kept a mental ledger of my grievances. Now it was time to settle the score. Thanks to the relentless bullying over the past year, I had also gathered some intel on Lu Ning and Zhao Haoyu, such as their home addresses. Lu Ning's parents were entrenched in the system, known for their stringent upbringing, while Zhao Haoyu's parents were university professors, imposing exceedingly high expectations upon him academically. Under the cover of night, while my mother slumbered, I donned a crimson dress and stealthily slipped out. The system whispered with curiosity, "What are you doing out at this hour?" And dressed in a red gown. How frightening. I chuckled softly. "I'm on a mission." After activating the golden finger that afternoon, my fever had dissipated, and I now possessed a task progress bar in my mind. With the enhancement of my abilities, my resilience had significantly increased, and the progress bar advanced a notch. Iron value progress. 8. The system queried, "What kind of task can you do in the dead of night?" I offered no response, merely smiling. "Just wait and see." Soon, I arrived at an old apartment complex, my gaze fixated on a specific building, Block 7, Units 501 and 502, the residences of Zhao Haoyu and Lu Ning, respectively. At this hour, they were undoubtedly asleep, their windows cloaked in darkness. How could they sleep so soundly with the impending college entrance examinations just over 2 years away? Clearly, they were not taking their studies seriously enough. As a good classmate, I felt compelled to lend them a helping hand. Thus, I ascended to the rooftop. "System, I won't die if I jump, right? Don't underestimate the golden finger I've granted you. Even if you jumped from a plane, you'd only sustain minor bruises." With that reassurance, I felt at ease. The golden finger not only provided enhanced physical capabilities. I carefully assessed my landing spot and effortlessly leaped from the 7th floor rooftop, landing on the protruding edge of Unit 501's window. I knocked rhythmically on the glass. Top, top, top. Top, top, top. Top, top, top. Before long, the slumbering occupant was roused. A girl sat up in bed, grumbling. "Who on earth is it at this hour?" Her voice trailed off abruptly. Lu Ning had failed to draw her curtains while sleeping, and upon opening her eyes, she found me, clad in red, with disheveled hair, silhouetted against the night. In the inky darkness, my face was obscured behind strands of hair, while the blood-red hem of my dress fluttered in the wind, teetering precariously. Thanks to my enhanced night vision, I could clearly discern the expression of sheer terror etched across Lu Ning's face and the rigidity of her body. Pressing myself against the window, I parted my lips and lowered my voice. "Lu Ning, I've come to take you away." In the next moment, I leaped from the 5th floor. Lu Ning's scream pierced the night. "Ah!" The tranquility of the neighborhood shattered as awakened residents began to curse. I picked myself up from the ground, brushed off the dust from my clothes, and slipped back into the shadows. At this hour, the streets were sparsely populated, yet those who were present kept their distance from me. The system's voice echoed in my mind. "Iron value progress, 15. The system trembled, exclaiming, "Impressive." The following day, Lu Ning did not attend class. I sat in a corner of the classroom, casting a glance at Zhao Haoyu, whose posture was impeccably straight. Someone inquired about Lu Ning's absence, to which Zhao Haoyu simply stated she was ill, saying nothing of the events from the previous night. Given that his home was adjacent to Lu Ning's, it was implausible that he was unaware of what had transpired. Yet, as a top student, he would not stoop to uttering such superstitious nonsense, deeming it beneath him. Lu Ning's two lackeys, however, were whispering amongst themselves. Ning said she encountered a ghost last night. Is that for real? Others gathered around, eager to hear the gossip, and quickly formed a small crowd. One lackey spoke mysteriously. Yesterday, Ning claimed that a woman in a red dress knocked on her window in the middle of the night, demanding to take her away. Gasps of shock erupted. Red dress. That ghost must harbor a great deal of resentment. But why would a ghost seek out Lu Ning, right? Did she inadvertently come into contact with something unclean and become entangled? Their speculations grew increasingly absurd. The system reveled in their misfortune. Lu Ning has been taken to see a psychiatrist by her parents. However, Lu Ning stubbornly insisted that she wasn't mistaken, which infuriated her parents enough to give her a beating. My pen paused momentarily. Lu Ning's parents were entrenched in the system and were staunch materialists. Last month, she had sought a blessing for safety at a temple for Zhao Haoyu, only to be met with a slap from her parents upon discovery. The following day at school, Lu Ning had vented her frustrations by tearing up my exam paper, resulting in me being punished with 2 periods of standing. The blessing earned through that slap was carelessly discarded into a drawer by Zhao Haoyu. You're nothing but a lump of mud. What use is your academic prowess? You might as well drop out and join your mother at her stall. Lu Ning would often say such things. She had torn my exam papers on multiple occasions, even shredding the textbooks I used. Every page now bore the marks of my painstaking repairs with tape. Lu Ning's actions stemmed solely from jealousy. Zhao Haoyu ranked among the top 3 in our grade, while she begrudged my position within the top 10, barely scraping into the top 300 herself. She was envious that my name on the result sheet was so close to Zhao Haoyu's, while Lu Ning lingered 2 pages further back. Yet she had never considered striving for improvement through her own efforts, despite her parents hiring numerous tutors. The only thing that managed to penetrate Lu Ning's mind was the name Zhao Haoyu. With the fierce watchdog absent, Zheng Shanshan from the adjacent class, who harbored feelings for Zhao Haoyu, approached him. Under the pretense of discussing a problem, she gazed at him with affection in her eyes. Without Lu Ning's interference, Zhao Haoyu treated Zheng Shanshan with exceptional kindness. He maintained a cordial demeanor towards these well-to-do young ladies, making them feel as though they were special. However, this was merely Zhao Haoyu's faade. Were Zheng Shanshan not a rich heiress, he would not spare her a second glance, let alone assist her with problem-solving. Zhao Haoyu's parents enforced unyielding academic expectations. Even the slightest dip in his grades would result in severe repercussions, and early romantic entanglements were strictly forbidden. I have begun to suspect that his psyche has long since warped, prompting him to seek a capable girlfriend as a springboard, paving the way for his own future. He aspires to liberate himself from the confines of his parents. In Zhao Haoyu's eyes, Lu Ning's role resembles that of a tool for alchemical manipulation rather than that of a childhood companion, serving merely to help him swiftly eliminate unnecessary individuals from his life. I scoffed disdainfully. What a perfect match for a broken pot. System. Host, what did you say? Nothing. I shall pay another visit to Lu Ning's home tonight. Lu Ning's parents, fearing it might hinder her studies, granted her only 3 days off. In this brief interlude, Zhao Haoyu would undoubtedly seize the opportunity to deepen his relationship with Zheng Shanshan. I must ensure that Lu Ning returns in a good mental state. At 1 a.m. that night, I once again rapped upon Lu Ning's window. The crimson fabric of my attire fluttered like blossoms in the wind, and my low, somber voice echoed like a dirge from the depths of hell. Lu Ning, I have come to bring you home. My efforts bore fruit. When Lu Ning returned to school, everyone was taken aback by her appearance. Her once radiant visage had dulled to a waxy pallor, dark circles accentuated her weary eyes, and her spirit seemed utterly deflated. The fear of sleep had driven her to consult a doctor, who prescribed her some medication. The combination of her parents' reproach and distrust, coupled with the side effects of the medicine, had aged her considerably in just a few days, rendering her unrecognizable as the lively girl she once was. Her small entourage approached cautiously, asking, Ning, are you all right? Lu Ning forced a smile. I'm fine, just experiencing some side effects from the medication. With that, she turned to seek out Zhao Haoyu, her voice tinged with grievance. Haoyu, why haven't you come to see me these past few days? Zhao Haoyu glanced at her with evident impatience. Midterms are approaching. I need to study. You should prepare well too. Aiming for good grades so uncle and aunt can rest easy. Not receiving the comforting words she had hoped for, Lu Ning bit her lip in response. Yet before she could return to her seat, Zhang Shanshan arrived.
Haoyu.
I turned to the system and said, quickly, come and witness the spectacle. What is happening? Lu Ning is in a fragile state, and Zhao Haoyu is intent on keeping Zhang Shanshan close. If a conflict arises between them,
Who do you think Zhao Haoyu will side with?
without hesitation, the system replied, Lu Ning, given their long-standing acquaintance. While that may be the case, I believed Zhao Haoyu would no longer indulge her. The first thing one does after healing a limp is to discard the crutch. With the superior Zhang Shanshan as a comparison, Lu Ning, aside from her appearance, seemed utterly lacking in all other aspects. Over the past 6 months, Zhao Haoyu's demeanor towards Lu Ning had grown increasingly cold. My mother's stall had not seen any students from Yueying since, and on several occasions, Zhao Haoyu had deliberately allowed Lu Ning to act out in front of the cameras. Privately, he feigned concern, saying to me, Lu Ning has gone too far. I can't bear to watch. There are cameras over there. He handed me the evidence. The system was perplexed. If you have evidence, why not report it? Because Zhao Haoyu has never physically harmed me in front of others. If I were to report it, only Lu Ning and her companions would face punishment. However, now I have a new plan. My gaze returned to Lu Ning's contorted face. She had been kept in a state of limbo, her possessiveness over Zhao Haoyu spiraling into madness. Upon seeing Zhang Shanshan, she erupted, Is your entire class dead? Must you cling to Haoyu alone? Zhao Haoyu's gaze turned icy. Lu Ning. Ignoring him, Lu Ning glared furiously at her rival. Zhang Shanshan, having been raised in a sheltered environment, could hardly tolerate such indignity. What a filthy mouth you have, cursing others like that. What business is it of yours if I seek Haoyu? Who do you think you are to meddle? You. This remark struck a nerve with Lu Ning, for Zhao Haoyu had never confirmed their romantic involvement. In a fit of rage, she shouted, You wretched girl. I suspect Lu Ning subconsciously mistook Zhang Shanshan for me. She lunged forward, raising her hand in anger. Before it could land, Zhao Haoyu intercepted her. He was desperately trying to maintain his aloof persona. After finally coaxing Zhang Shanshan closer during Lu Ning's absence, he could not allow her to be harmed before him. He pushed Lu Ning away, irritation evident in his voice. Lu Ning, don't act out. Zhang is only here to discuss schoolwork. Lu Ning stumbled back, her parents already doubting her mental state, and now Zhao Haoyu was labeling her a lunatic, causing tears to stream down her face. I'm not crazy. Why must you question me? Can't you see she likes you? The commotion drew an increasing crowd of onlookers, making Zhao Haoyu feel like a circus monkey under scrutiny. His face darkening for the first time in school. We're just classmates, don't speak nonsense. Having known each other for so long, Lu Ning could not be oblivious to the fact that Zhao Haoyu's attitude towards Zhang Shanshan was markedly different from that towards previous girls. In the past, when girls would fawn over him, no matter how Lu Ning acted, Zhao Haoyu remained indifferent. Yet now he was protective of Zhang Shanshan. In a fit of despair, she screamed, her already pale face twisting into something monstrous. Zhao Haoyu, I've liked you for so many years. What do you think I am to you? What am I to you? We're merely neighbors. With that cold dismissal, Zhao Haoyu turned and left the classroom with Zhang Shanshan. He understood Lu Ning's obstinate and possessive nature all too well. Remaining any longer could provoke her to act rashly. If Zhang Shanshan were harmed, it would undoubtedly impact their relationship. As they departed, Zhang Shanshan shot Lu Ning a taunting look. Lu Ning's eyes burned with fury as she screamed and began to tear at her hair, causing her small entourage to hesitate in approaching her. With the excitement dissipating, the crowd began to disperse. The classmates were left in shock at Lu Ning's erratic behavior, failing to recognize the once charming class flower. It felt as though she had returned from her absence with a completely different essence. In that moment, no one dared to offer her comfort. They watched helplessly as she hurled Zhao Haoyu's books onto the floor. Then, turning around, her bloodshot eyes fixed on me. Suyu, to the restroom. I lowered my head and weakly replied, but no one noticed. Concealed beneath my desk, I wore a broad smile. Finally, it had come to this. Under the complex gazes of the onlookers, I rose and exited the classroom. Lu Ning followed closely behind. Once inside the restroom, she closed the door. The dim light enveloped us, and the window by the sink had been opened by the attendant, sending a chill down my spine. I feigned my usual timid demeanor. Retreating towards the window, Lu Ning advanced, standing just half a step in front of me. Now, it was just the two of us in the restroom. Was this not precisely what I had wished for? She tugged at my hair, compelling me to raise my gaze. I winced at the thought of losing several strands in the process. Lu Ning began to chastise me indirectly. Who gave you the audacity to entice Haoyu? He belongs to me, do you understand? Why don't you filthy girls stay away from him? Why? I endeavored to feign tears. I didn't tea. I truly didn't tea. Alas, despite my efforts, my eyes remained dry. Ever since binding myself to this steadfast man, I discovered that shedding tears was a feat more arduous than extracting golden beans. With slender, meticulously manicured fingers, she twisted and pinched my face with a force that sought to mar this flawless skin. Discarding the pretense of timidity, I knew that my appearance was hardly inferior to that of Lu Ning. She always aimed to ruin my visage, yet feared that the marks would be too conspicuous, exposing her own malice. Each time, she would target the less noticeable areas of my jaw with her nails. But times have changed. I have grown resilient, my skin toughened, and after a prolonged assault, Lu Ning was unable to leave even the faintest trace. Her astonishment mingled with ire. How the hell is your skin so thick? Despite her fingers aching, she could not elicit a single bruise. I continued to feign tears. Please stop pinching me, it hurts so much. The system chimed in. Host, you are quite the actor, I almost believed you. Leaning against the windowsill, I could easily tumble from the third floor with a mere backward tilt. Lu Ning, can you please spare me? I truly have no feelings for the class monitor. My voice trembled with fear, yet my face bore a grin reminiscent of Lu Ning's. She froze momentarily, astonished by my expression. I silently mouthed, Lu Ning, I'm here to take you away. The color drained from her face in an instant. She recognized me as the specter that had haunted her for days, the ghost of the girl who had jumped from the building. Lu Ning trembled, her lips quivering. You're a ghost. I raised my hand and grasped the fabric at her abdomen. Lu Ning, what are you saying? What ghost? Don't frighten me. My lips, however, formed a smile as I mouthed, shall we play the jumping game? Lu Ning, don't push me. Help. With my deliberate cries, curious heads emerged from the classroom windows. Under the watchful eyes of many, Lu Ning and I plummeted from the third-floor window. Someone shouted first, someone jumped. The entire teaching building erupted into chaos, boiling over like water splashed into hot oil. Help! Where are the teachers? Lu Ning pushed her. I can't believe it. Call 120. The third floor was not particularly high. My intention was merely to expose Lu Ning's bullying to the public eye. I never wished for my life to be endangered. As I fell, I positioned myself as a human cushion, absorbing the impact. Lu Ning lost consciousness. Although I was unscathed, it would be impolite not to feign a faint. I promptly closed my eyes and pretended to be unconscious. In my act, I drifted into slumber. When I awoke, I found myself lying in a hospital bed, surrounded by a group of police officers, doctors, and teachers. One person has a mild concussion and a fracture in the left arm. Otherwise, there are no significant issues. But the other one. The doctor's expression was grave. The homeroom teacher appeared on the verge of collapse, terrified. What happened to the other one? Please, just tell me. The doctor replied. The other one fell from the third floor and, remarkably, only sustained abrasions. How incredibly fortunate. The homeroom teacher stammered. Could you perhaps refrain from breathing so heavily? Fearing the worst, he thought one of the students had perished. I silently mused that, in fact, I seemed to have no injuries at all. The bruises on my body were all remnants of past encounters. Lu Ning, in the adjacent bed, had yet to awaken. I sat up, prompting my homeroom teacher to hastily press me back down. Lie down. What if you move and cause further issues? I've already informed your parents. Your mother is on her way. I nodded obediently. Thank you, teacher. After confirming my well-being with the doctor once more, my homeroom teacher finally exhaled in relief. A police officer began to inquire about the events that had transpired. Noticing my discomfort, he reassured me, don't be afraid, young student. If you encounter any difficulties, you can speak freely. We're here to help. The officer had undoubtedly heard something in the school earlier. My homeroom teacher cleared his throat, attempting to downplay the situation. It was merely a conflict between classmates. Naturally, he sought to minimize the incident. As the homeroom teacher, he could hardly be unaware of the tensions between Lu Ning and me. The current predicament was largely a result of his willful ignorance, turning a blind eye to Lu Ning's persecution, all due to her parents' connections with him. The police, seasoned in such matters, quickly discerned the underlying issues. After casting a warning glare at my homeroom teacher, he fell silent. I timidly spoke up. Could we have a female doctor come in, please? I wish to have my injuries examined. The police swiftly brought in a nurse clad in a white coat. She escorted me to a private room. I removed my clothing, revealing an array of bruises and contusions, some from being twisted, others from fingernails. My back bore several burn marks from cigarettes and scalds from hot water. These injuries were all remnants from before the system bound me. Old wounds had yet to heal, while new ones had already formed. The nurse gasped in shock, her empathy palpable as she tearfully examined me. Which wretched beast laid such heavy hands upon you? How utterly inhumane! As I donned my clothing once more, I replied, it was that girl lying outside. The nurse paused, then spat out an expletive. How could a young girl be so vicious? She tenderly patted my head.
Poor child. Oh, dear.
After completing her assessment, the nurse consulted with a police officer. Soon, he returned to the ward with a serious expression. I disclosed the entirety of the conflict with Lu Ning. The officer indicated that he would review the surveillance footage and assured me that I would receive an update shortly. Once everything was resolved, I returned home with my mother, who had rushed over in a flurry. Upon learning of my bullying ordeal, she wept uncontrollably, blaming herself for the suffering I endured. Seeing the injuries on my body only intensified her guilt. She was ready to storm into the police station, demanding arrests for the perpetrators. After much effort, I managed to comfort her. Mom, rest assured, I will not suffer in vain. They will face the consequences. Host. No need to worry about Lu Ning anymore. What about Zhao Haoyu? The system huffed in frustration. He wasn't captured on the surveillance footage. Will Lu Ning betray him? Certainly not. However, their parents will undoubtedly clash. It was impossible for any parent to remain unperturbed after their daughter caused such a significant incident with a neighbor's son. Indeed, as I anticipated, the police located the surveillance footage, corroborated by testimonies from classmates, presenting irrefutable evidence. My mother even ceased her pancake business, reaching out to friends and family to help procure a lawyer for me. Unexpectedly, after the incident gained traction, another girl stepped forward. Her name was Hao Meng, a classmate from the same floor, who also harbored feelings for Zhao Haoyu and had secretly sent him a love letter. Coincidentally, Lu Ning had witnessed this. At that time, Lu Ning was embroiled in a conflict with Zhao Haoyu and, in a fit of rage, had locked Hao Meng in a restroom, taking explicit photos to blackmail her. Initially, she had intended to keep the incident under wraps. However, upon witnessing Lu Ning's audacity in pushing someone from the building, Hao Meng resolved to take a gamble and informed her parents. They promptly went to the hospital, vocally denouncing Lu Ning's actions, causing an uproar on the entire floor. The police examined Lu Ning's phone and indeed discovered the incriminating photographs. Ultimately, Lu Ning was sentenced to 7 years, while all involved parties received their due punishment. Yet, she never served time in jail. As I had surmised, her parents found ways to secure a psychiatric evaluation for Lu Ning, placing her in a rehabilitation center instead. Their concern for their reputations overshadowed all else. If their daughter were incarcerated, how could they maintain their positions? Once the situation settled, my steel value soared to 60. As the system announced, Lu Ning was thoroughly frightened by you. Upon awakening, she immediately screamed about seeing a ghost. You cannot imagine how furious her parents were, their faces turning ashen. The live stream from the rehabilitation center revealed the grim reality. Lu Ning lay pallid on her hospital bed, while her mother attempted to converse with her, only to receive silence in return, prompting her to leave in exasperation. I noticed Lu Ning's lips moving in the footage. Upon closer inspection, she was calling out for Zhao Haoyu. The fervor of infatuation is truly terrifying. Inevitably, Lu Ning's future seems bleak. I shook my head and averted my gaze from her. Little did she know that the childhood companion she so ardently yearned for had long since discarded her, now entangled with Zheng Shanshan in a passionate affair. Despite my repeated assurances that I was unscathed, my mother remained unconvinced and insisted I stay home for a week. From the moment I stepped onto campus, I was subjected to a barrage of curious stares. Is that her? She looks so frail. Yes. Suyu from class 3 of the second year jumped from the 3rd floor. Guess what? She has got a slight flaw. So, is the concentrated essence indeed the quintessence? Lu Ning's predicament had already spread throughout the school, and numerous students approached to inquire about it. I heard that Suyu from your class was bullied for over a year? During my moments of distress, my classmates feigned ignorance, awkwardly claiming they were unaware, though they were well aware of the truth. The gossip among students operates like a radar, yet they remain blind to the events unfolding around them. They are either fools or blind. The school forum began to label the students of Class 3 as complicit bystanders in bullying. This created an oddly tense atmosphere, with classmates glancing at me, hesitant to speak. I was indifferent, as I had always been an inconspicuous presence in class, not particularly close with anyone. Moreover, anyone who would stand by me would undoubtedly face Lu Ning's wrath as well. It is only natural to seek self-preservation. My focus should remain on my studies. Friendships not worth having need not be cultivated. Some began to notice the discrepancies. Wasn't Lu Ning's bullying aimed at Zhao Haoyu? As class monitor, why doesn't he help Su Yu? Exactly. The girls in our class say he is cold on the outside but warm-hearted, and given his close relationship with Lu Ning, how could he possibly be unaware of her bullying his childhood friend? I see him as a hypocrite, a central air conditioning unit, trying to please everyone. Zheng Shanshan treats him like a treasure, forbidding any criticism. Am I the only one who noticed? The girls who can converse with him all come from affluent families. On the top floor, our class beauty, who comes from a less fortunate background, receives no acknowledgement from him. Ultimately, all posts concerning Zhao Haoyu were deleted. System. It was Zheng Shanshan who did it. I could have guessed it with my appendix. She was currently in a fervent relationship with Zhao Haoyu, wholeheartedly defending her boyfriend. Naturally, she would not allow any disparagement of him on the forum. The fervor of youthful love is intense, with expensive gifts continuously showered upon Zhao Haoyu. Lu Ning had only been out of school for half a month, and they had already confirmed their relationship. Zheng Shanshan constantly dragged Zhao Haoyu into various activities, posting numerous displays of affection on social media. I glanced at the midterm exam results, which had plummeted by 10 places, leaving Zhao Haoyu behind. A grin crept onto my face. With Lu Ning and her entourage out of the picture, I could finally immerse myself in my studies. As long as Zhao Haoyu maintained his current trajectory, the sole competition slot in our class would be almost certainly mine after the next month's exams. However, Zhao Haoyu did not make it to the midterms. Joyous news. Zhao Haoyu is in ICU. I was taken aback by the system's abrupt notification while on my way to school. What happened? It was Lu Ning who stabbed him 3 times. 6. Once again, a desk was vacant in our classroom. Due to the frequent incidents, our homeroom teacher looked increasingly distressed. A student who had stumbled upon the crime scene recounted the harrowing details vividly. I thought it was a madman. Upon closer inspection, it was Lu Ning. She struck ruthlessly, akin to a vengeful enemy, blood splattering everywhere on the class monitor. It must have been revenge. She liked him, but now he is with someone else. The class monitor is truly pitiable, having been adored by a madwoman for so long, only to be stabbed after finally starting a relationship. I took a perverse pleasure in the suffering of my adversary. Zheng Shanshan, on the other hand, was particularly ostentatious, posting dozens of affectionate photos daily across her social media platforms. The childhood companion had found true love, while the childhood sweetheart remained oblivious. Thus, I kindly had the system send an anonymous message to Lu Ning, notifying her of this delightful news. She was seething with rage. Barely a month after her incident, Zhao Haoyu had already found a new partner. In her eyes, this was not merely a betrayal of her affections, but a humiliation that turned her into a jester. Under the cover of darkness, Lu Ning stealthily escaped the rehabilitation center and lay in wait at the school entrance. Upon spotting Zhao Haoyu, she lunged at him, stabbing him multiple times. Fortunately, she was intercepted by security. One stab grazed his shoulder, another pierced his chest, and a third struck his abdomen. Though none were life-threatening, they were sufficient to keep him hospitalized for a month. The Zhou family was on the brink of madness. Initially, they felt a measure of sympathy for Lu Ning regarding the young couple's romantic troubles, but now their precious son had nearly lost his life. The two families became sworn enemies, nearly coming to blows in the hospital. When Zheng Shanshan attempted to visit, Zhou's mother slapped her twice upon learning she was her son's girlfriend. It's all your fault for seducing my son. If it weren't for you, my son wouldn't be in the hospital. His grades wouldn't have suffered. Lu Ning was mentally unstable, and no matter how the incident was scrutinized, no resolution could be reached. Her wrath was directed entirely at Zheng Shanshan. Humiliated, Zheng Shanshan promptly ended their relationship. Yet, she was not one to be easily subdued. This isn't my fault, and your son, not you, is the one I was dating. You have no right to accuse me. Furthermore, since we're breaking up, your son must return all the gifts I gave him. I'll send a list to Zhao Haoyu. If he refuses, he can expect to hear from my lawyer. I must admit, Zhao Haoyu has an excellent eye for choosing girlfriends. Zheng Shanshan is quite generous. The system calculated the value of her gifts, leaving me momentarily stunned. Goodness. Watches worth hundreds of thousands, necklaces worth tens of thousands. The evils of capitalism. Zhou's mother, upon seeing the list, was equally shocked and hurriedly rummaged through her son's room to return the items. Following this incident, the girls at school began to keep their distance from Zhao Haoyu. It's laughable. What matters more, a man or one's life? What if the next one to be stabbed is oneself? There are plenty of handsome boys around. Moreover, Zheng Shanshan is a living example who would willingly subject themselves to the trials of a domineering mother-in-law. Zhao Haoyu's experience in the hospital was no better. His left shoulder was injured, but it did not hinder his ability to write with his right hand. His parents simply brought his schoolwork to the hospital. Haoyu, your scores plummeted in the last midterm. Since you're in the hospital without distractions, make the most of this time to study. Also, high school is the most crucial period of your life. I want to allow your relationship to interfere with your studies. I've already put an end to your affair with that girl. Let this serve as a lesson. Zhao Haoyu's face turned ashen. I understand. After being immersed in studies for over a month, Zhao Haoyu returned to school only to despair as he discovered that all the girls were now keeping their distance from him. His aspirations of rising from humble beginnings were dashed. The dual blows to his body and spirit caused his midterm results to plummet once more, landing him in 23rd place in his grade, while I had ascended to 2nd place. The progress of my task has reached 85.17. I have my sights set on a coveted competition slot, with only one available for each class. It is the National Olympiad in Mathematics. If my performance is sufficiently outstanding, there is a significant chance I could be directly recommended for admission to Kyoto University or Haikao University. I possess a strong confidence in my abilities. However, just as I believed victory was assured, my homeroom teacher summoned me to his office. Holding a teacup, he said, "Suyu, I must apologize for this matter. Regarding the Olympiad, it is more appropriate for Zhao Haoyu to participate." I scoffed. On what grounds? Last year, Zhao Haoyu ranked first in the class, and I supported his selection. I recall his final performance was rather underwhelming. Currently, I hold the top position in the class and Zhao Haoyu's grades have been declining. He possesses no advantages. I require a reasonable explanation. Seeing my resolute stance, the homeroom teacher sighed, feigning a troubled expression. I understand you feel it is unfair, but this is a unanimous decision among the teachers. Then summon the other teachers. I wish to hear their perspectives. I cannot rely solely on your word, can I? My tone dripped with sarcasm. The homeroom teacher's beer belly trembled with indignation.
Suyu,
Do not speak recklessly. He took a deep breath and continued to obfuscate. Zhao Haoyu has already participated in a competition, giving him experience and an advantage. You can wait until next year. I was unmoved. Then why not let Zhao Haoyu wait until next year? Did Lu Ning injure him? Is he not expected to survive until next year? The middle-aged man, unable to argue against me, slammed the table, exclaiming in anger, "Stop speaking nonsense. If this continues, I shall call your parents." Go ahead. But my mother is on my side, so summoning her will be futile, as this matter reveals your bias and favoritism towards Zhao Haoyu. The homeroom teacher, humiliated and enraged, retorted,
Suyu.
I am your teacher. You ought to show more respect. A teacher? I laughed. What qualifies you to be a teacher? When Lu Ning bullied me for over a year, how did you fail to notice? On one occasion, after she tormented me, she returned to your class. Were you blind or deaf? Could you not see your own student being bullied? Oh, my apologies, you are not blind. It is all the fault of Lu Ning's parents for aiding your commendation as an excellent teacher, leaving you too elated to open your eyes. This time as well, Zhao Haoyu's father facilitated connections for your daughter with a school mentor, resulting in your vision being impaired again. Is that not so? I recounted the various incidents I had uncovered through the system. The homeroom teacher's face was a kaleidoscope of colors, his expression a mixture of fear and disbelief.
Sue.
Do not utter slander. Disrespecting teachers is unacceptable. I shall summon your parents immediately. Summon them. Who is afraid? I will ensure you do. The commotion had drawn a crowd of onlookers. I turned towards the office window, my expression sorrowful, and subtly instructed the system to amplify my voice so those outside could hear clearly. The homeroom teacher seemed to realize my intentions, rushing forward to obstruct me. But I pushed him aside with ease. Do not interfere with my performance. I feigned a mournful demeanor for some time, yet could not summon any tears. I am sorry. Teacher, you are correct. Even if Zhao Haoyu's grades are poor and declining, I cannot compete with him. I am unfit to represent the school in this competition. I cannot bring glory to the school. Sob, sob, sob. Zhao Haoyu is simply too exceptional. I cannot emulate his ability to balance rigorous study with romance. My mother is not as accomplished as his parents, and I lack a father to assist her daughter in finding an excellent mentor. They make me feel utterly inadequate. You are right. I am an unqualified student, unworthy of participating in the competition. I shall relinquish my slot to Zhao Haoyu and end this once and for all.
Sobe, sobe, sobe.
The students outside understood the situation at last. The homeroom teacher attempted to retain me. I leapt forward. With a resounding thud, the homeroom teacher emitted a sharp cry. Call an ambulance. The students screamed, their voices filled with anguish. Someone has jumped again. Suyu has jumped again. Suyu was driven to jump by the teacher. Feeling somewhat drowsy, I succumbed to unconsciousness. When I awoke, the familiar doctor greeted me once more. Injury assessment, slightly dirty cuffs. His gaze towards me was exceedingly complex. Student, are you a cultivator? Have you achieved an indestructible body? No, I merely enjoy cosplay. Cosplay of whom? The unshaven version of the 18 Arhats of Shaolin. The doctor walked away, his expression dazed. The familiar police officer approached me once again to inquire about the incident. My homeroom teacher's corrupt dealings and coercion had led me to impulsively jump. I embellished the narrative. According to the information provided by the system, I was not the first student to be subjected to his favoritism. The traces of these interests were evident and easily traceable. In the end, the police officer gave me a penetrating look. Student, you possess remarkable physicality. Have you considered a career in criminal investigation? I politely declined. I am not particularly inclined to become a Lonling King. What does that mean? I do not wish to spend my days apprehending individuals. In this awkward moment, my mother hurriedly arrived. Fortunately, I had forewarned her about my peculiar condition. My mother performed a lackluster portrayal of a worried parent. In the police officer's eyes, which conveyed the sentiment like mother, like daughter, I was escorted out. I had once again become the center of attention at school. After my leap from the 4th floor, with merely slightly dirty cuffs, I earned the nickname One Jump to No Avail. The rumors of my homeroom teacher threatening students and accepting bribes began to circulate. A moment of misfortune led to a decade of suffering. The victims' reports flooded the principal's suggestion box. I report, he altered my scholarship allocation. I report, he consistently monopolizes the physical education teacher's classes. I report he accused me of early romance. That was clearly my betrothed. At this point, one could hardly speak of being an excellent teacher. He could barely keep his job. The actions of Zhao Haoyu's parents were also exposed. During my jump, my voice had resonated loudly enough to reach half the school. Everyone knew he sought to usurp the competition slot in hopes of securing a recommendation. The posts on the campus forum either marveled at my impressive physique or condemned the underhanded tactics of Zhao Haoyu's family. This time, without Zheng Shanshan's assistance, posts targeting him were pinned for half a month. The girls treated their past affection for Zhao Haoyu as a digital scar, even bringing it up during arguments to insult opponents. Your husband is Zhao Haoyu. Your husband. Your husband. Just before the final exams, Zhao Haoyu could no longer endure the ridicule and transferred schools. His parents, feeling embarrassed, took him to another city. The Phoenix man was out. In the 2nd year of high school, Class 3 welcomed a new female homeroom teacher who was gentle, intelligent, and attentive. The competition slot was returned to me. I prepared thoroughly and performed admirably in the competition, successfully securing a gold medal and a recommendation to Kyoto University. Later, my college entrance examination results placed me 3rd in the province, much to my mother's delight, as she boasted to anyone who would listen. What splendid weather today. By the way, my daughter is going to Kyoto University. Do you like my new clothes? When my daughter goes to Kyoto University, I will wear this outfit to send her off. While organizing my belongings for school, I heard the system's notification. Iron will progress. 100. Congratulations, host. On successfully completing the task. The system sobbed intermittently. Host, I am about to depart. In truth, I have always felt that I have not been of much assistance to you. I am but a worthless being, wailing. I chuckled softly to offer comfort. Yet, without your aid, I might have had to wait an eternity for the wicked to reap the consequences of their misdeeds. Moreover, in my quest to improve my grades, I've been studying tirelessly, sacrificing sleep for merely 4 hours each night. Had it not been for your transformation of my body into one that is robust and healthy, I would have long since succumbed. Every stride I have successfully taken has been due to your steadfast companionship. Thank you. Woe is me. I shall miss you dearly. The next host will likely be a rough-hewn brute. I shall no longer possess the delightful, tender, little cake of a host. Farewell, dear host. May your future be smooth sailing, and may all your tasks be accomplished with great success. Goodbye, my cherished friend. In my darkest moments, you were the companion who nurtured my growth. As the system detached itself, a solitary tear cascaded down the corner of my eye. It landed precisely on the screen of my phone, inadvertently activating the fingerprint sensor. The screen illuminated, revealing a transfer notification from the ironclad man, which captured my attention.
Ah.
So there is a monetary reward for task completion. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 8 zeros. Thus concludes the tale. Thank you for listening. If you enjoyed it, please subscribe and leave a like and support. Until we meet again in the next story.